Coordinating to order tonight, and we'll start with our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, good evening, we have so many people here tonight. Okay. Probably the most that I've ever seen, so. All right, so, thank you for all coming tonight and being with us, and then we'll get started. We'll get a motion to.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Great, all right, and now on to the consent agenda. Alright. That motion.
Sorry,
Let's go for it. I move to approve the consent agenda for today.
All right, all in favor? Okay, moving along. All right, we have special presentations tonight. Do we have a student representative from the high school tonight? Awesome. Do you want to come up and tell us what's going on? You can stand there. That's perfect. We have that. That's new for you tonight.
So we had a lot of special activities this month. We had every 15 minutes assembly, and we had multiple things over the week. That was just really moving for a lot of students. Just like kind of help to everybody like understand like the risks and to not make those dumb decisions and call someone if you need help. We had homecoming week, which was great success. We had the homecoming parade, lots of students involved with that, either watching or on the floats. And then homecoming itself, but obviously a lot of students there had fun to go out and have that dance. Then last night we had the He-Man and Power Cup games. The boys play volleyball, girls play flag football. Again, lots of student participation, just have fun and kind of just like reset at the end of the quarter. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, we had the test days. The freshmen took the iReady test, math and reading. The sophomores took the practice ACT. The juniors took the ASVAB test, and then the seniors worked on their CIS goal setting and senior project. So have Sophie talk a little bit more about the ASVAB.
Yes. So the ASVAB was, even if students don't necessarily want to go into the military, I think it was good practice for just taking standardized tests. Like juniors have to take they get to take the SAT in the spring, so it's good practice for that.
Then we had both a college fair and a career fair. The college fair was down in Roseburg, and there were over 70 colleges there. Gave students an opportunity to go try to find a college they like. Maybe it might be a community college, a college in Oregon or out of state. Then we had the career fair, which was just down in Pleasant Hill, and you explore different fields that you might be going into, talk to people in that field. Then we had a lot of different field trips for different clubs and classes. We had outdoor club, went on a hiking trip overnight to Candy Creek. Then Japanese life and culture went on a field trip to a Japanese garden field. And then there were several FFA and agricultural field trips, such as Agriculture Olympics, soils, and they went to a public school land lab. Then coming up for the next month, we have the food drive that's starting next week. And to just bring meals to families that are struggling for Thanksgiving. Then we have college application week, and there's overviews for several different things such as Oregon Promise Grant, FAFSA, and then some activities to help people start their applications. And then finally, we have some more FFA stuff with Willamette Valley Agricultural Expedition, and then one more college exploration field trip.
Thank you. It means they're very busy. Thank you for being here tonight so much.
Okay, as mentioned, we have the every 15 minutes activity event at the high school. That was a really awesome event. We have a video to show you and then some guests that we're going to acknowledge that participated in both students and our Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
Sorry, they just jumped. I know this was in- They don't have to do everything, you have to change everything. Okay, all right, perfect, go ahead, start, I just saw that, go ahead.
We can wait.
No, no, whatever you wanna do, we're good,
Okay.
we're gonna do that.
Dear Mom and Dad, I never thought this could be. I never thought I would leave this earth so soon because of a crash. I can't say I love you one last time or give you one last hug because everything I've ever had is taken away from me in the blink of an eye. I couldn't have asked for a better family, and I'm so sorry I had to leave you all so soon. I love you all more than this. Life is full of decisions, and now one singular decision being made has not only taken my life away, but forever impacted the lives of those close to me. Mom. Hi, Eva. Wow. Life changes so fast. Within seconds, I'm gone. This is a ago, you were talking in the kitchen. Now you're romance. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry my stupid choices had to change everything. You will always be important to me. Everything will be okay. I'm
Dear Mom, Dad, and Isabel, even if I don't say it often, these three will always be the most important people in my life. Dad, I'm sorry we'll never get to finish our talks about everything. You'll never know how important our conversations were to me. You've made me into the person I am. Mom, you gave me the push I needed to live life to the full. Isabel, you've not only been someone to share my life with, compare and push myself to catch up. I'm just sorry I never will. All of you have loved me for 15 years, and I just wish I had more time to spend with you.
Okay, we have some students here to talk about their experiences and what they've learned from the activity. Jen, do you want to introduce them and bring them on up?
So we have Samantha Ramirez and Amber Grant, and they, you probably saw them on the video, were in and participated with our sheriff's department with every 15 minutes. So they agreed just to share a little bit about what that was like for them.
Hi, I'm Amber. I just wanted to say that like, it was very shocking that like, this just happens every day, every 15 minutes. And a lot of students didn't take it seriously at first because it was kind of like, it gave the intention that it wasn't something very serious because of the way it was put out there, but it's definitely serious. And just watching like through the week and through the 2 days, the first day being the car crash, everyone wasn't really like serious about it and they were just laughing about it because they didn't know what else to do. But then the second day, I realized people really did take it seriously, and I'm glad that people did take it seriously because it's such an important like impact. Hi, I'm Samantha. The every 15 minutes program for me was really impactful because I never talked about the first day, but the night of the first day, they showed us a lot of like different things and what they went through. And it kind of like showed me how impactful it is to not just the people that are in the crash, but also the police officers and everyone else affected by it. And it just like made me realize how much more impactful it is. Instead of just for one family, it's to a whole bunch of different families.
Did you want to have a couple words about it, Jen?
I can, I don't know how much they want to say, but, I think that, you know, events like this are hard and you think about how it's gonna affect your students and what it's gonna be like for them the following days. And I think the girls were right. I'm not sure that students really knew what to do with this or how to absorb it the first day. And so there was a lot of giggling and joking and cajoling the students who were in their attire. the second day when we had the gentleman who came in and spoke about losing his kids and the video, and, you know, the sheriff's department did the mock death notification to the family who lost their child, which was one of our students. I chose them because they had a twin in the school, had a sibling, you know, another sibling at the school, and were involved in sports. So what's it like? That's the ripple effect, but it's not just the impact of one family. So the next day, during the assembly, you could really see the impact that it had on the students. And we hope to use this video and do campaigns throughout the year just to keep the intent of this program sort of at the surface during some of those key times when students might need to make that decision. We want to make sure that they're not. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have some people representing the sheriff's office here tonight. They have Tom Seldridge, Alex Seldridge, Tom's wife Tracy, who's a big part of this, Andrew Brooks, and Zach LaFoca. And we really just want to thank you for all of your hard work with this and all of your partners, Southland Fire and all the other people that have helped put this together. We really do appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have anything you want to say, Tom?
Yeah, you know, just real briefly, I would say that the Every 15 Minutes program was founded and created by law enforcement officers who were tired of going to crashes with kids. And things happen, you know, through our lives, and every choice that we make causes a ripple down the road, so to speak. And rather than being reactive, this program is an opportunity for us who are tired of going to those crashes involving our kids in our county, your kids at your school. This program is an opportunity for us to actually be proactive. And a little emotional, sorry. I don't want to see one of your kids doing this for real. I will do this program 1,000 times before I choose to do it once for real. And so I'm thankful for you for letting us bring this program to your school. And thankful for you guys for being such an amazing ambassador to this message. And if you carry this, you can let this program ripple through the rest of your life, and you will save somebody's life. We don't know when, we don't know where, but we will save somebody's life. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom. Yes, well, we really appreciate you all being here tonight for this presentation, and it was really great. The board was appreciative of seeing it tonight. We really wanted you guys to come. If you guys have something else that you would like to spend your evening doing, you may feel free to leave. I mean, they're really great people to hang out with for a couple hours, but if you have something else you want to do, don't feel like you have to stay tonight. And kids, we know you have homework or whatever else to do, so feel free if you want to take off, you can do that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
By the way, this is Galen Brooks.
Oh, and then Dana Brooks, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
So much.
Okay. Next is the.
Yes.
Okay, and we have another presentation from our Family Resource Center, and where we'll introduce our staff and then we'll present the program.
Hopefully they'll come join me. Well, we have our presentation tonight related to school happenings. It's related to our Family Resource Center and Coordinator Catherine Dumas and the Head Evento Liaison Sarah Stevens. And so one of the goals that these two amazing ladies have in common is removing those barriers so that our students can show up to school each day, be here, be present, have the transportation, the food, the clothes, all the resources they need to be successful. So they're going to tell you a little bit about the work they have and have a special invite for our next board meeting. But I'll turn it over to the two of you. Alrighty, hi, my name is Sarah Stevens and I'm the school district's evento liaison. To start it off, I'm just really excited about this year because this year I am actually able to work more hours as the liaison with for the district, which is really exciting for students and families.
I'm not sure if anybody doesn't know what McKinney-Vento is. I know I worked here for 3 years before I even heard the McKinney-Vento. But what it is it's a federal law that protects the educational rights of homeless students. So what that means is, under the umbrella of McKinney-Vento, it's a child or student that is just lacking fixed, regular, and adequate residential housing every night. That can look different for families. We have a lot of families in our district that are doubled up. So they're either living with other family members or they're living with other friends. Well, they could be living in motels, hotels, cars, camping grounds. It could be living in transitional housing or shelters, especially in the Eugene Springfield area. And then a lot of the unaccompanied youth at the high school would be more terms of like couch surfing, so you'll hear a lot of that. So different things that I can do as a liaison for the students and the families is, there's quite a few, but some of them are, I can assist with registration when it comes to registering their kids. The biggest thing is we just don't want barriers. We're trying to get rid of as many barriers as we can. So families and students can come in and start registration process right away. Even if we don't have all the proper correct documents, we get them registered, we get them in, and then we start getting all the other documents that we need from whatever school they transferred in from. But then also it's going to be helping with like basic needs. So like clothing, food, personal hygiene. I've given families and kids like bedding, duffel bags, backpacks, things like that. Coordinating transportation, so a lot of that is where I'm working with Sarah and her team over at the bus barn. We might have families that are not in Creswell, so they're in Eugene, Springfield, maybe Cottage Grove, Pleasant Hill. So we work together with transportation to get them to and from school. And then also providing referrals to different community programs. A lot in the Eugene Springfield area. We work with a program called 15th Night. And actually we, as a district, we just started working with them last school year, and they are amazing. If you've ever heard of them, you're like shaking your head, yes, yeah. They are a fantastic program, and I'm really excited to be able to partner with them. Also, there's a gal named Becca that works for them, and she is like my go-to. This is only my second year doing this position here in the district, and so it's still a lot of learning, still a lot of the gray area where I'm like, oh, so she's a great resource for me, that 15th night there. But then going back to what we can do for students and families, is the referrals. It's also paying for students fees in the sense of if they're playing sports, elective fees, yearbooks. You know, we had some high schoolers last year that were graduating and they needed help with buying their cap and gown and whatnot. So McKinney-Vento will cover all the students' fees. And then also help solving and problem solving barriers, assisting with unaccompanied youth or FAFSA verification letter. I was able to help with that with Angela Dennis over at the high school last year, which is amazing. There were, I think, 4 unaccompanied youth over there that we did a FAFSA verification letter for them. And then also a lot of unaccompanied youth and families when it comes to applying for SNAP benefits, OHP benefits. I have a lot of unaccompanied youth that I help with birth certificates and social security cards because they don't have those things either. So yeah, just trying to help. My whole goal really is just being able to break down barriers for students so then they continuously are getting to school and getting the education that they need. Something else that McKinney-Vento liaisons around here do, which is amazing, is that myself and Bethel, the MB from Bethel, 4-day, there's a couple of them over there, a couple of them in Springfield, we all get together once a month, and there'll be like a guest speaker that comes in, sometimes from Catholic Community Services, sometimes 15th Night, and they just kind of let us know what's going on with their organization and how that could help students and families that we're working with, which has been a huge help. On top of that, with those meetings that all of us get together, is that we can just kind of problem solve and talk about kind of some like situations that arise in our communities and help each other out with problem solving through that too. Have some notes around lose track of everything here. Okay, so when it comes to referring students, there's a couple different ways. On our district website, there's a Google form there, and it will have information about McKinney Bento, it will have my contact information, and then different links to resources here in Creswell and around. And then it has the Google form where people can fill that out, and it goes right to me, and then I make contact with the family. But to be honest, a lot of it is just staff members. Catherine and I have gone to all 3 schools now this school year and talked to staff about what we do. But then also one of my biggest goals is just to get McKinney Bento out there, but then get my name out there also to let staff members know, like, hey, this is what I do. If you hear of a kid talking about a fire in their house or couch surfing, or you have any inkling that there's something going on, all you have to do is let me know. I'll contact the family, I'll reach out to the family, I'm more than happy to do that. I just want to make sure that we are trying to help students and their families as much as we can, because like I said, my whole goal is getting them to school and getting the education that they need and want and deserve.
So I don't need to say anything now on the. Oh, I wrote some notes too, because my brain shuts down about 6 o'clock. So, I'm Catherine Dumas again, so I'm the coordinator for our Family Resource Center. And for those of you that haven't heard about us, we've been around for about 6 years. And the intent of this center was to create stronger, healthier, and more connected families through educational activities, basic need assistance, parenting programs, and then creating partnerships with community support in Creswell too. And as Sarah said, removing barriers is huge for our families. And our mission is to guide and nurture families as they move from surviving to thriving. So we are open to anyone living in Creswell who has kiddos 0 to 18. It doesn't necessarily have to be a district student. And we mostly serve families navigating poverty and other sensitive situations. But the goal with our new center that I'm going to speak about in a moment is to really create a community environment where there's something for everyone. So during the past 4 years that I've been in this position, obviously it's been through the pandemic, so I saw the needs of our families drastically change and evolve and increase. So in 2019, when I started, we were serving about 240 students a year. And I just did the numbers for last year from October to September of 2023, and we served 576 kids, which is a 137% increase over just a 4-year period. So we can obviously see that the need is increasing in our community. A lot of the times we weren't able to meet the needs maybe directly due to funding constraints or access barriers. We were located in the elementary school for a little while, and sometimes that was hard for people to come into. So I started looking for different funding streams, and we found some really awesome opportunities here in Creswell. So we're funded through Creswell First, and then a private donor. And when we expanded kind of past that little grant, those pockets of money, we started applying to basically any grant that I found on the internet or that came through my inbox. So after a couple of years of grant writing, we got small amounts here and there. And when I finally learned how to do it, we were awarded the United Way Support Grant, which is a much larger 2-year support grant that is covering the cost for an expanded center and expanded programming. So this grant allowed us to move out of the elementary school and into modular 4 out here next to all of the other modulars. And this renovation, we were able to add a washer and dryer, a refrigerator for a small food pantry. We expanded our clothing boutique. We added a children's play area, a parent lounge area, desk space. So myself and Sarah now have a space that we can meet people at. And then we have lots more things planned. As soon as we can finish it, we will start new programming. And we will be able to run all of our grant and future programming from this new center. So speaking of programming, some of the things that we offer are our school backpack program, where we give backpacks and school supplies to kiddos who sign up for it. Our season of giving and holiday food, which is happening right now, and I'm going to recruit you in a moment for. We deliver
about 1,200 diapers out to 17 families every month through a partnership with Lane County Diaper Bank and Ride United. And then, as Sarah mentioned, we have everything basic needs related: food, clothes, toiletries, laundry, lace kits, pretty much anything a family could need. And then in the new year, in January, we're gonna start reintroducing our 0 to 5 programming, which is like play dates and STEM activities and things like that. And also add back some parenting jobs. So season of giving is, we are in our application process right now where families are sending in their applications to receive gift and food assistance over the holiday. And then members of our amazing community can go to Bean Hopper and Blue Valley Bistro to pick an angel off of their tree. And that angel has information on a child, non-identifying information on a child that they can then go shop for. It all goes back to Creswell Church of Christ. Berna gets her team together and floods the church sanctuary presence. And then it all comes to me. And we do 2 days of distribution. So last year, it was very fun. We had all of our board members take things from the district office and help me organize them in here. And so hoping next meeting in December, you can help me do it again. But this is our biggest program, and where we serve the most families. We figure out early on in the year like which families are needing support, and we make sure to follow those families throughout the year. And that's a lot of information, but I kind of wanted to speak quickly about how we're funded and why the center matters and why we're expanding so much. So we all know that learning and functioning in society is really difficult if you don't have your basic needs met, especially as kiddos. So we strive to meet those needs: food, clothing, hygiene, adequate shelter. So when kiddos come to school, they can focus on what their job is, and that's to learn. So we help families attain things like mattresses, so their kids are sleeping in a bed and not on a floor. We make sure families are receiving food boxes each week, so the kids are coming to school fed. We provide coats and shoes to kiddos who are walking home, so they don't freeze when they get to school or when they get home. And we're offering parent workshops so that parents can start breaking those generational cycles and not pass those things on to their kiddos. So we are trying to kind of wrap around our students and our families so that they can learn better. We also want to hit our younger kiddos, so that 0 to 5 population. We want to offer programs and activities for those families, so we can introduce them to our district. We can offer programs that work on skills needed to be successful in kindergarten. So when a kiddo shows up to kindergarten, they're ready. Now, that's a lot of programs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where we get our funding for that, and the answer is kind of everywhere. United Way funds primarily my position, which my position is 10 hours a week under United Way. And then Creswell First grant has been amazing because it kind of wraparound supports our family's basic needs. And then we have a private donor who just knows when our funds are running low, and I get a check in the mail, and it's amazing. The district obviously supports us as well. We did just take a modular space, so they're supporting us a lot more now, which is amazing. And then this United Way support grant, it has allowed us to renovate modular 4, and it also is going to help us increase programming and basic needs assistance. We're going to be able to offer assistance for things like utilities. I know water bills have been high, and a lot of people have been needing help with that. And then renovations of that center for the next 2 years. Lastly, there's another grant. We're funded from all over the place. There's one more grant that just for this school year, we were able to increase Sarah and I's hours. So 15 hours a week for me and 20 for Sarah, which probably reflects about half the time we could actually spend doing the work. But I am really thankful for you guys having us here tonight. And I kind of like to say that we are really living out the mission of the center. So the last few years, we've kind of been borrowing classrooms in the elementary center. Now we're out obviously in a modular, and we are really excited to use this United Way support grant and hopefully future funding so that we can be surviving, thriving, and provide more accessible, equitable, and barrier-free opportunities to all of our families.
And you guys should come check it out.
Are you guys partnering with 15 on their IB program? Do you guys support kids like in high school trying to maybe on their own and they don't have IDs? There's a couple of, yeah, are you-
Yeah, so 15 and I came to the high school last spring, I think it was. I did a training with the high school staff,
Okay.
which was great. And then, yeah, so I have access to 15 night at Creswell and then also Eugene Springfield.
Okay.
So sometimes if I feel like, I think that somebody else might, then I can put in some information, what I need them to receive. And then they kind of works that, they get the referral, then they contact me and I contact the student to make sure that the student and the provider can get a time where they can connect and get whatever the student is looking for.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Another question, if you got time. You mentioned water bills are kind of the next area that you want to be able to help with. Are there future, like, do you envision future steps of maybe another gap that you just haven't been able to fund yet?
Oh, yeah, I have a list in the back of my folder of like all the things that we need funds for. Water is gonna be a big one coming up soon too, because don't remember what side, but one of the sides of Creswell needs a new,
That's the side.
yeah, so this side of Creswell needs a new water plant, right? Yeah. This side of Creswell is where a lot of our low income families live, so they're gonna see that reflected in their water bill increasing, and they already can't get their water bill. So we've actually been, having meetings with Curtis, our city planner, about how the city and the resources can work together to maybe apply for some larger state grant funds and be able to funnel that through the city instead of us, because it would be much easier for them to have like a pot of funds that they can just give out. When water bills-
low income assistance.
yeah, like a low income, water assistance, and then there are electric assistance through different electric companies, but unfortunately they run out of funding pretty quick. In the year, so electricity is another one. And, right now I have a really good source for rental assistance, but that ends on January 10th. So that was, yeah, I'm always like looking at what can we do, where can we fill it? Gas cards is another huge need.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for coming.
Number one today, we're doing a lot of notes. All right, so next up, Mike,
All right,
superintendent's report.
here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so, you see my activities, for the month. And, my highlights, around school safety is, with the disaster, response training. And then also I was in the, reunification training with Joel and I were with the, city of Creswell. Those were really good, productive meetings, and we'll be moving the, response training into our schools, or rolling them out, after the first of the year, and, with all of our staff. And looking at getting, the quotes or updating you on what we're doing with our school security. Of course, always, student safety is our number one priority. We are currently in the process of developing a security plan to make our schools safer for students and staff, and to protect the district's facilities from vandalism and abuse. Concerns for the security of our schools goes back many years. In 2008, as you can remember, that was the time of the recession. We were in an economic crisis as well. The schools, all schools were across the state. The district cut 14 days from the school calendar and furloughed staff. And we implemented staffing cuts and eliminated athletics from the district budget. Yet, Dr. Stuber had perimeter fencing installed at the north end of CHS, and moving from there down south on the east and west property line. Unfortunately, he didn't have the resources at the time. That was it, that he had to be able to provide some security fencing for the district. Although the project did reduce the number of entry points to the property, unlimited access has continued to be a security issue for the district, causing safety concerns for our students and staff. Additionally, the CMS campus has the same experience with the public having unlimited access to the school campus during the school day and evenings and weekends. In 2018 and 20, the Lane County Sheriff's Office conducted school safety assessments for all 3 schools. The security assessments were aligned to the federal K-12 school security guide developed by the Federal Security Agency, which includes the Department of Homeland Security. The Lane County Sheriff's Office, a law enforcement officer that conducted the CSD assessment, were specifically trained to investigate and observe and assess security issues to our schools. The security assessment focuses on 4 layers of security for school safety. The first, or number 1, is the grounds perimeter layer, which outlines the outer boundary of the school campus, so the most outer perimeter of the campus. The school grounds layer, which encompasses the athletic fields, parking lots, playgrounds, and any other outdoor space that is part of the school's campus. Number 3 is the building perimeter layer or walls enclosing the inside of the school buildings, so walls and doors, entrances into the school. The building interior layer, which comprises of all spaces inside the school buildings, such as administrative offices, hallways, cafeterias, classrooms, gymnasiums, auditoriums, etc. Everything inside the walls of the school. In summary, the LCSO assessments determined that our schools and facilities had excessive vulnerability to threats to student and staff safety and criminal activity. The LCSO made several recommendations to increase security for the safety of our students, staff, and crime prevention. Among them, reduce the access points to the property and continue a 6-foot cyclone fencing on the east and west property line, continuing from where Dr. Stuber had left off in 2008. Adding fencing around the school buildings and sports fields. Those are in the school safety assessment recommendation. Prior to my arrival, the district implemented security improvements to the building interior and building perimeter layers for walls, so 3 and 4. They were working internally, but very little with the perimeter of the property and school grounds. It's been right where it has been since Dr. Stuber left, with the exception of the fence that's around the playground here, that was added here at Creswell. Since my arrival, we have continued to make upgrades and progress to improve security at all layers, while working our way from the building interior layer, number 4, and building perimeter layer, the walls, number 3, to developing a plan to address the grounds perimeter layer, number 1, that's the most distant or outer perimeter of the school, and grounds layer number 2, right around the school buildings, the fields, and that such. Layers number 1 and number 2 are considered to be prevention barriers for active shooter and criminal acts towards students, staff, and the property. Communications that we put out in regards to moving forward with this plan, the security plan, based on that assessment. When we surveyed the community during the strategic planning process, the planning process to improve our schools, and when we surveyed them for the bond, or going out for a bond, the community prioritized school security and safety as a priority. The district communicated increasing school safety and security as its top priority during the bond campaign, with all publications, flyers, letters, etc., and 2 community forums, both of which we have. We have one at the middle school and one here. Joel went to the 6th Street residences to inform our neighbors that we were installing a fence on the east property line. The district contracted a surveyor to establish the east property line, but the markers were not to be found. So we had issues or challenges in finding our property line there. And that surveyor didn't seem to be interested in going any further, putting more time in to finding our boundaries. So we reached out to another surveyor that indicated he would, after assessing the job, put the time in to find out boundary lines and establish them, so we knew where our perimeter, or would know where our perimeter lines are. That work is still in progress. At the Bond Oversight Committee, we discussed the appropriate usage of bond funds for security fencing for our school campuses and perimeter. And they unanimously agreed that the use of the bonds were appropriate, bond funds were appropriate for this purpose. I facilitated a community forum to present our school safety assessment recommendations as they came through from the Lane County Sheriff's Office and how they align to the Homeland Security school safety guidelines. And then took suggestions from the community members and we're processing those with other suggestions that we've received and input from community. We are also researching to determine if there are any other easeways accessing our property other than the east alley and the west alley. The east alley is county property. The west alley is city property or easeway. And then we have our north and south entrances. The recommendation is to have 2 entrances into your property or entry points. We would have 4 if we put perimeter fencing on the east of our property lines. So we're continuing, we're facilitating information and bringing this data and all the information together so that I can process it and then bring a recommendation forward to the board. And that's my report.
Anybody have any questions in mind?
Mike, just because the lighting at the middle school, I've constantly asked, how is that coming? Are we making progress on getting the electrical lights established?
We are, we've had some challenges with that. It's hunting season and the people that really need to do the work. Hunting from week to week, we get one person back or one electrical company back and the other one's gone. And so Gilbert is really pressing on that one and he's.
It's not them to get their deer and come back.
And he's a hunter, but I mean, but it's still,
Sure.
it's a little frustrating, but we're working on it and they were to have something to us this week. So I guess we have a couple more days left to see if they're going to put a transformer out there, but that's what they're going to do.
Okay, so you have the solution, we're just trying to figure out then getting the solution done.
Yeah, Pacific Power's been great and they're going to add a transformer for us and then the electricians are going to and then hook up the circuits for it.
Great.
And but yeah, like I said, if there isn't one out hunting, it's the other. Now hopefully they'll come back and we'll all be together and get it done.
Okay, all right, at least now I know how to respond, thank you.
All right, anything else? Okay, so now we have public comment. And there are individuals registered to speak this evening. And so according to Creswell School District Policy BDDH, state, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We will give you a signal when 3 minutes is up, so you may finish your thoughts. When I call your name, please state your name and community of residence and share your comments. Please direct your comments to the board. Do not address questions to the board. The board's goal for public comment period is to listen to concerns, comments, and opinions. The board will not respond to your testimony. So I'm gonna just call people based on the way they came in. So just in order of who sent it in first. So the first person is Teresa Brubaker's name. So we're just gonna have you over here at the podium. And Marilyn will be standing in. We give her that special things tonight. She's really excited.
My papers up now.
Well,
My 10 cents.
I will.
I assure you that all of us who know each other that are speaking tonight have worked very hard for the past 2 days with a timer, stopwatch, and a lot of extra deodorant to speak pretty well tonight. This is a very difficult situation for all of us here because I think everybody is concerned about student safety, staff safety, and district property. However, with balance, and present the balance. I'm Teresa Brubaker, I live on North Sixth Street. I'm gonna read you a letter tonight, not about my opinion, but about a community member who is so intimidated by this process. They chose to remain anonymous. The letter is as follows. Start now, Carol. It's very start. I have lived in Creswell for over 70 years. I would like to point out that many of the residents on Sixth Street and other adjacent properties have long family history in this community, dating back as far as the building of these very homes in the early 1900s. I've gone to Creswell schools, as have my parents and my children. I, as well as my ancestors, have been to many or on many school and community committees throughout my life. What I think of as the woods behind the houses in North Sixth Street that belong to the school district are in an area I take great pride in. I've helped mow, remove debris, and plant flowers there for decades. This neighborhood is used by many in the community for walks by students, families, community members, and bike riders. The old houses on North Sixth Street are such a treasure to all of us longstanding members of the community, as well as visitors who enjoy walking and riding through. The woods are the very last remnant of a large oak savanna in Creswell and include wetlands where native tribes planted camas. The construction of the high school in 1967 destroyed much of the habitat by removing the trees, draining and filling this land. If you try to put a fence 1 foot from those homes and their properties, you will, I fear, destroy the very last of these woods and the very little remaining camas. I have seen such disregard for this land. I can easily see the school district removing the woods to make it easier to create the 6-foot-high cyclone fence, making it look like a prison yard from the school classrooms and the neighborhood homes alike. The school district has good neighbors who are long-standing members of this community. I have helped clean up when the school employees make their annual mess of the property as they mow on wet ground, making ruts, getting stuck, and generally having little regard for what I think of as a treasure to this neighborhood and for the whole community to enjoy. After they finish, I have helped follow up, remove poison oak, English ivy, and blackberries that remain and isn't managed by the district. In addition, I still do not understand why the single lane gravel road behind these homes is now being used by school buses year round, even in the summer, and now that the pandemic is over. I, along with many others, were told that this was temporary. This dirt fire access lane is routinely traveled and abused by buses, commercial trucks, and passenger cars driving fast throughout the school day, throughout the school hours, through this new shortcut. Additionally, parents and students now cut through Sixth Street, traveling to the elementary and the high school, flying down the road in their cars all the time. I have watched as I pass through the neighborhood as cars come speeding through, almost hitting homes, taking out a tree, or as I fear could one day happen, a student is being hurt. I agreed to read this letter because I wholeheartedly agree with it. I hope the school board listens to an open collaboration with the neighbors and the community members who continue to come to these meetings. Please slow down this decision and end this fractious period of time and come up with a better balance of safety options for students, staff, and the use of district property that the whole community can get behind. And that means locking this property for the students' safety, but that also includes security cameras, security guards, and blocking the very vehicles that are yours and additional community members that continue to travel through district property 24/7. Lock the gates. That's the security issue. That needs to be our foremost of getting these cars. Don't let people come on the kids' property. You also have to sacrifice. Take the vehicles off the property from the parking lots, from the high school to the elementary school. Thanks.
Thank you, Teresa. Thanks. Right, next up, we have Delaney Brubaker. I'm making a statement that's actually more related to the educational benefits as well as the safety balance benefits of working here at the school district. As I am, my name is Delaney Brubaker. I'm a resident of North Sixth Street, and Hartfield's been my primary residence for nearly 25 years.
I'm a biologist and I actually specialize in restoration ecology, which is the science of renewing habitats degraded by human action. To highlight my credentials, I've worked domestically and internationally on this, and I have my work published in premier scientific journals. I would like to use this time to define to you the value of your land from an environmental perspective and to bring your attention to the impacts that current projects happening on the school district grounds and repairs have had on the ecosystem that's between Creswell Elementary and Creswell High. Your property has what's called a wetland oak savanna, which is characterized by a lightly forested grassland that remains semi-wet annually. Specifically Oregon's old oak trees, which like the ones you have on your eastmost border of your property, are scientifically considered ecological keystones. These keystones are how we give a moniker to individual organisms that are the backbone of a local ecosystem. A single one of these old trees, such as you have, can sustain life for hundreds of species in a single month. And millions of individual organisms over their lifetime, and that's just one tree. As they stand now, the grove that you have likely supports more than 60% of the species living within Creswell's urban growth boundary, and that includes directly and indirectly. While this property was acquired for educational purposes, that's not all it ultimately came with, and that's why I wanted to share that information today. Areas such as the land you have are one of the rarest types left in the United States. And why I came here today is to bring attention to how dangerous the current and past land management plans have come to taking this habitat away from your student body. More importantly, these actions that community members are trying to come notify you about are not really being brought before the proper forms of action that at least the community feels like we voted towards trying to help benefit the student body here at the Creswell schools. These habitats are just so dangerously and threatened, and more importantly, the beauty and importance of these habitats cannot be bought. They cannot be rebuilt, they cannot be regrown, and when it's gone forever. There are decades of information out there that are telling you what I'm telling you tonight, but what it is true is that laws do not err on the side of generational preservation. I implore you to take information from your land managers and your contractors and what they tell you that the law says you can do moving forward with your projects, and consider the time and question of what science supports what you should do. I grew up adjacent to your school property. I grew up on North 6th Street and I attended your schools. I was one of your students who benefited from the sports leagues you have out here on this property. But sports fields aren't all that your property has to offer. And ultimately, Creswell Schools has access to an immense resource right out its back doors that is unfathomably educational. And I had teachers that refused to help me try to gain access to that. So I actually left your school district because of that. In the time since, I learned more about what land like this has to offer, and I went and spent my entire education on it, internationally, globally, and all that has done is brought me back to Creswell, knowing what I've watched Creswell School land management do since I was a student, which is you could be doing more, and yet you continuously waste your district's potential. I'm a student who was out here that wanted to benefit from that. This land has more to offer to sports, and there are more students that want that, and this time frame is futile, I understand that. But this is actually not the first time I've come to your school board about this effort to benefit your community. In 2020, I penned a detailed letter to the school board that was submitted to members like Mr. Anderson, as well as other school board members at their request, that I had done some observational research to find that there were numerous observational findings that I led to me.
Excuse me, 3 minutes, but go ahead, just to let you know.
Yeah, I'll finish it up. Thank you for your time. But your property was experiencing accelerated degradation due to increased traffic during COVID when I sent this letter in 2020. And I sent this letter to encourage that there was an increased risk of litigation over injury to students and people on your property. And it would lead to an increased rate of needing to refurbish sports fields, which has come to pass. Mostly I wanted to bring this up as someone who really greatly appreciated my time at Creswell, but knows that you could have done and you can do more for your students. I hope you as a school board will help work for that in the future, considering your current plans. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Hi, I'm Tammy Beach. I live on North 6th Street and I went to the school district here from elementary school, high school. And now I'm back for the last 6 months as a doctor in our community, treating our students, athletes, and family members here in the district. So I came tonight to just talk about the timeline of this school fencing project and what's been proposed on our district. On Wednesday, October 11th, one of our neighbors received a letter from the school district stating that a fence would be installed 1 foot behind our perimeter fencing 14 days later on October 25th. That letter was sent to that neighbor that would be delivered to the rest of us the next day. The next day came, Joel came knocking on all of our doors and the letter was not left. We weren't there to speak to him. The very next day, we sent an email to the school district and Mike asking what was going on with this fencing and why we didn't receive a letter notifying us that a fence would be installed behind our property line. And we got a reply from Mike that said he was postponing the project, given that the community was emailing at that time. We called around and found the survey company that had notified the school district after they delivered the letter to one neighbor Wednesday night and didn't to the rest of us by Thursday, that the survey company had informed the school district that they were unable to find their property line, and without more time and money put into the project, they were unable to issue them a report of where they were allowed to put the fence, which we are assuming is why the rest of us didn't get a letter. After that, we asked Mike Johnson if he would set up a community meeting and a meeting with the neighbors to discuss the installation of the fence. Within a few days, there was a community survey posted that was emailed to just school district family members, asking about if they wanted perimeter fencing, yes or no, and if they want interior fencing, yes or no, in public comments. Within a few days of that, there was a community meeting scheduled, which occurred last week, to discuss. We all came to the meeting where Mike gave a presentation about Homeland Security and what he did in his report today with you guys. And then didn't allow any public comment and had everybody fill out pieces of paper similar to the survey. And anytime anyone spoke, they were interrupted and weren't allowed to speak towards the community and what we wanted from our property and whether or not a perimeter fence was the right thing at the time. At that meeting, Mike would not inform us as to what percentage of the survey said yes or no to each of his issues. I have also emailed you and asked since then what the results of that survey were. I'm not familiar with what those were at the time right now. And since then, we've been waiting to figure out if they're able to locate the property line. We know we don't have a permit from the city to place a perimeter fence 1 foot behind our property line. And we're just trying to have more open transparency with the community members as to what we're doing and when. Because that letter was received 1 hour after your guys' meeting ended last month, and this is the first one since then. We could discuss it with anyone here about whether or not we need the perimeter fence and whether this timeline is too quick. At that meeting, Mike informed everyone that as superintendent, it is entirely up to his decision whether he installs a fence with or without public and community involvement. So all I ask is, as our school board and our elected officials to represent us, is deciding whether or not we have an open, closed, or partially open and closed campus up to the school board and the community or other people here. So I just ask that that be a bigger decision and not one that happens from October 11th to October 25th without any opening for public comment or school board meetings occurring at the time. Thank you.
Shannon. We have Susie next.
Good evening. My name is Susie Remus. I live on Swale Ridge Loop, which is just by the high school. I've lived here for 11 years. I'm a retired nurse and I'm a dogaholic. I tell you, love them. And I've been on the property. I'm a sinner because I've had my dogs on the school property, no question. But I also pick up after my dogs. And I do OPDPs, which stands for other people's dog poop, which makes me crazy. I go out every day and I'm picking up at least 1 bag and sometimes 6 bags of poop that other people have left, and it makes me nuts. But you want me on your property because I reported a water leak that the school was unaware of, gushing water. I took 2 weeks and I cut down all the blackberry vines on the west side of the school. It took me 2 weeks to do it, 2 hours a day. I've returned lost and found items, earbuds, key fobs, sunglasses to the school where the kids have left them behind. I have picked up more trash than I would care to tell you. I tell you, that some of the fast food stores wouldn't be able to make it without the students here. There's so much junk in the parking lots and on the fields. water bottles, you name it. I'm sure you've all seen it. I've sprayed yellow jacket nests that exist in the ground that the school has been notified of. But through the process of having to get somebody out and handle it, the list is so long that they didn't get around to it. So I took it upon myself to go out and knock out 2 yellow jacket nests, one that was in the ground and one was on the fence. And I have voted the last 2 school bonds positively, saying yes. Student safety is absolutely the most important thing in the world, absolutely. But there's gotta be some give and take, and I'm hoping that maybe even using the north portion of the school could be left for the community where the BART track is, so that we can just use that to walk or do whatever. But the responsible members of the community, as you all know, are always the ones who end up picking up after the others. I'm willing to do that if you're willing to let me have the time. Thank you for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Susie. All right, next we have Julie Heron.
Good evening, I'm Julie Heron. I'm a district parent with kids at the elementary and middle schools, and my husband's a teacher at the high school as well. I'm also a neighbor to district property on North 6th Street, and I'm involved with our community sports schools. I coach the 4th, 5th soccer team out here. I fully supported the passage of the bond measure that grants our district the funds to complete much needed maintenance. And I'm absolutely in favor of improvements that would increase student safety and enriching opportunities. With all that being said, I come to you to express concerns I have regarding the school district's proposed fence project. As a neighbor, I'm worried about the legacy and long-term impacts of the plan to install 6-foot chain link perimeter fencing behind all existing neighboring fences along the east and west side of the district property. My concern is that this fence would ultimately create an inaccessible area that would be riddled with invasive blackberries, weeds, and poison oak. I have observed this to be the case where they have already installed such fencing in front of the high school at the northwest corner of the property and Susie's house. I know that the neighbors in that area have continually struggled with invasives creeping into their yards and have requested that the issue be addressed by the school district many times. The continued disregard for this issue is not very neighborly and perhaps even affects people's property rights and property values. I don't want to see this happen to more neighbors, myself being one of them. There must be a better way than fencing in fences. I understand that the district is also underway with fencing, gating, and locking access to track and field facilities. Given the lack of parks and open spaces in our community, I find this move to be extremely obtuse. Many children and community members enjoy accessing these spaces. People are constantly out there using the fields, walking on the track, practicing soccer, football. I personally enjoy taking my girls out there. We do our power kicks, corner kicks, throw-ins, race each other. This is such a benefit for active kids and a healthy community. Littering and vandalism are always going to be issues with school property. But I believe there are other ways to monitor and protect these spaces while not shutting out responsible users. It is the folks that live nearby consistently using the property that are also picking up litter, other people's dog poop, helping to maintain the grounds, and providing a form of neighborhood watch. I was in attendance at last week's school safety forum and was heartened to see the community members gathered there wanting to brainstorm solutions. Unfortunately, I did not get the impression that the district's plan is open for discussion. I urge the school board to consider the impact of the current fencing proposal on the neighbors and community and examine the true goals behind this endeavor. There are other solutions that would protect our children, staff, and property while at the same time keeping the space open for community enjoyment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Julie. And Randy, good morning.
I'm Brady Winmore. I am here not necessarily in any disregard of any of the, the lands that have been here for a long time, but these are my concerns. So I've
most of you guys know, yes, I have a house, but I actually live outside. I've coached numerous kids, thousands and thousands of kids, spent thousands of hours outside. This is my concern. What the solution is, I'm not sure, but unfortunately for some of us, I want the fields gated, and I want our schools gated for safety purposes. So, I went to the community meeting and I understand people's frustrations, but these are my frustrations. I literally pick up trash out there on the field all the time, and it's reputable community members out there that are also leaving the trash. The other day, this was like actually a month ago, I was out there, I came to get gear to go get ready for a soccer game on Monday. I came out there on a Sunday. And it was awesome seeing teams out there with there was a club softball team out there. There was a parent hitting balls to their son for baseball. There was a couple kids out there on in the turf using it for soccer. But then at the same time, there were kids out there literally at the same time pulling down those nets. The portable goals out there, which my husband and I put together, we also put up a grant for those. We're already broken, torn down. I've spent, so it's like $500 per set for nets, and I personally paid for them over the last 20 years myself. I just can't afford to keep up with it. Unfortunately, I know that the money for the school district for sports and equipment is just not there. I've gone to the booster several times, but literally the week I put them up, the nets are cut. So my concerns are, especially like during the day, I've gone out and prepped the softball field. There's people out walking their dogs. There's people walking on the property. During the daytime, nobody should have access to the schools whatsoever, in my opinion. It's such a safety risk. I can't tell you, I work at the middle school also, how many people I've asked that they have to leave the premises because they're not supposed to be on there. There was one lady out walking 4 of her dogs with no leashes on them, and you have kids getting ready to head out to this was like during baseball, softball season, getting ready to head out to the fields, and it was just like, no, thank you, I'm not gonna do it. And it sucks for the people that are ruining it for everybody else, but I'm really not sure what the good solution. I think, I kind of feel like there's no win-win situation here. I mean, it's like lose-lose, like we lock it all up, and these kids that are out there spending their time trying to make themselves better and their teams. But I've also called around to all the school districts. In Lane County area, there are only 2 schools that are open to the public for use at all, which is Hamlin Middle School. It was part of their bond measure that they would leave 1 school open for the community to use, but they have to go through the proper channels and fill out a facility use form. And sometimes there's also a fee to help maintain their fields, and then Creswell. That's it. Cottage Grove's completely closed. 4J's
Brandy.
4J's is closed, and Springfield School District is closed. So that's kind of my.
Thank you, Brandy. All right, Daniel?
Hi, I'm Daniel Gonzalez. I'm a community member over off of Auburn Lane. My kids attend the schools. I was asked to come in and attend a meeting. I am neither for or against it. Basically, I came to the meeting to just listen to everybody's concerns and get my own opinions on this thing. School safety is a big issue for me. I graduated in 97 from Willamette High School, and a few years prior, had many friends and family members that were impacted by the Thurston High School shooting of Kevin Kinkle. And so I think that fencing an area is a good idea, but also listening to the rest of the community's concerns of getting rid of our natural resources and stuff is, another something that needs to be thought about and taken into aspects of things. But, as Brandy pointed out, the, issues of trash, the issues of dog feces all over the place, you know? I don't wanna go out there and be watching my kid and step in something that somebody left behind just because they're being irresponsible. I appreciate the people who pick up other people's stuff, obviously. You know, when I first moved to Creswell, I actually lived behind Weimar. And, I had issues with neighbors constantly walking their dogs and putting their dog feces in my garbage can. And I got irritated and I wrote a nasty note on the top of the garbage can, basically telling them, this is not your garbage can, please do not put your stuff in there. And I was actually home the morning that the garbage man came to pick it up and I could see him just rolling. The point is, everybody needs to be accountable for their own actions and what's going on. Same thing. What the solution to this is, I don't really know, but my child's safety is number one. I will die for my child doing whatever needs to be, or your guys' children. So safety of children and stuff is number one. How we need to go about presenting this to make it happen. And the rest of the community's concerns, I think we all just need to figure things out. So like I said, basically, I was here to just listen for myself and give my own little opinion, and see what else everybody else has to say. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, Tiffany?
Hi, I'm Tiffany Bagros. We've been community members for 20 years now. I'm a parent of a kid who goes to Creswell. She's been here since day one. She's an athlete. My husband and I both coach out of Creswell. And so I think that what's really difficult is we look at it as we want the safety for her first and foremost. For any of the kids, I pick her up from school every day, and so often I'm watching people walk through the schools, and they walk through with their dogs, and as cute as I think the dogs are, we are dog lovers, it's difficult when you see them off of their leash and just running around. We were actually at a softball practice a couple years ago, and the back fencing was open, and somebody had their dog off of the leash, and the dog came onto the field, and we were all trying to get the dog off of the field because it wasn't an appropriate place for it. I'm a part of the boosters, so we also see what kind of things get damaged and what we have to be asked for money to be able to replace those things. I was actually, while the track was closed here recently, I had to go out to the concession stand. So I had to break in to get into the field because it was closed off, and the whole time I felt like I was looking over my shoulder because I'm like, gosh, somebody's going, like, I'm gonna end up being one of those people that's called out. But the crazy thing is there were 3 different groups of people out on the track and the field during the time I was trying to get in to do school stuff. And I mean, everything was closed, everything had caution tape and signs when it was closed, and people still continue to disregard that. And I think that's what's really difficult. So there's the safety factor, but there's also the part where our community who wants this access disregards what the rules are. And, you know, I totally agree with an area for people to be able to walk their dogs and for the community who supported this bond measure. But we also have to follow those directions. You know, if it's closing it off, but maybe there's access points and maybe there's a small portion of area where people can come. But the vandalism, how do we pay for that? You know, we just put this bond out, but yet we already have vandalism to our brand new track and field. You know, we're out there all the time and there's gum that's into the field. You know, it's those simple things like that I stand behind the fencing. I think that there's definitely some solutions, you know, whether it's going through the proper channels to get access to those fields. I've done it. I'm cleared through the school district to be on the school property. I have gone through and I've got access to be able to be out on the fields and have that. They don't open the gym to us. We don't have access to the gym at all times. So why is it that we should have access to our track and fields at all times? That's kind of what I have to say.
Thank you, Tiffany. All right, I had one more that I don't see Brandon here. So think that that is the end of our public comment. Which, thank you all for coming tonight, and thank you all for sharing your comments, we appreciate it. Now, we are gonna move on. We have unfinished business. So, you know, like, Mike gives computer back, so you can follow along.
Thing just goes out.
I know, it does, it turns off and then you're on.
I only get 2 minutes on it
Yeah.
and it goes.
Folks that came for public comment are welcome to leave.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys is,
Yeah.
you guys dinner and
There's
other
that
things,
so
so
you stay, sorry.
feel free to stay, feel free to go.
Oh, and then we'll just take a little minute here. Our these meetings haven't been going this long, like, they need to run up some time.
Okay.
Well, it gives you time to get. It's like. No, I don't need that. But I don't. I forgot to even mention Saturday that I was there. So. The audience. Like that.
It's dark when I get up. It's dark.
I just thought that we're all gonna talk about, I like to have like a. Here's two. No, you're fine. We're waiting for you. That was the next time.
Didn't need to, but thank you.
All right, so we have some unfinished business, and then the first item is to appoint a board member to the OSBA Bond Ballot Building Conference, on February 16th. So Lacey, you weren't here last, board meeting, so we waited to talk about this. I wonder why. Okay. But Mike, do you have the information on that? And we kind of discussed it, and, OSBA has asked us to come to the training we went to, you were there, the bonds, ballots and building.
Spring
conference.
training.
Yeah, they wanted us to present at that because our bond was so successful with how quickly we got passed and was such a success rate, but Mike will do during that meeting, and then he wanted a board member to help facilitate that. And we were all jumping up and down, and so we waited until Lacey got here to speak.
We talked, we thought, wow, Lacey's so great at
We should
that.
wait till Lacey's here.
Okay.
After the presentation, there'll be a question answer, kind of thing. You could also tag teams, whoever the other thing, if they wanted to tag team on the presentation, I'm fine with that too.
And I'm happy to attend the presentation, I just didn't want to be that you were on the path.
Yeah.
You were.
I'm happy to help in any way. So if nobody else is wanting to do that, I will sit up there with Mike and I will be happy to answer whatever questions I can.
Perfect.
I moved to appoint Lacey to the board.
I second that. All in favor? Yeah.
Second.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I think Sarah said, it, but somebody did. We were getting that going.
Okay,
Don't feel like we took that, we waited for you.
no problem.
No.
Yeah, we're only presented in 197 districts.
Yeah.
Happy
No,
to-
I would love to actually go. I will still plan on attending, because I would love to go. Because I enjoyed that, and then it would be nice to be there for, share our success. So,
Okay.
all right, awesome. That was super quick. Information OSBA convention update, Marilyn, do you have an update for us, or you pretty much gave us all our packets?
I
So
did.
I mean, I wanna just publicly thank Marilyn for all the hoops she has had to jump through for this. It has not been easy, the dissemination of information to the rest of us has not been, not easy to interpret. I thought I was gonna have to be there tomorrow morning at 7 AM or something, like, what? So,
I just
Yeah.
want to say, I hope you all received the information from OSBA
I
about
did.
the event, and
Yeah.
it had the link to the app.
I did get the link to the app.
Okay,
Yes.
that's the latest thing that I received, so
Yeah.
I passed it on to you folks, and.
Yeah.
Would it be appropriate to ask if there's a feedback opportunity this year, since
Right.
it's been such a significant change?
I'm sure they've already received a lot of feedback, I can guarantee.
From Marilyn.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, super kind Marilyn, I doubt that.
I've been sympathetic, actually.
I know. Well, I appreciate all the hard work for those of us that are attending. We
Yes.
appreciate it very much.
I think they were overwhelmed with emails, that was one reason they were, everything was so late.
Mhm.
Plus their process, I won't explain it, but. I
It's
don't think
not
they'll do that
streamlined.
again,
Yeah.
it didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm sure that they will hear a lot of feedback.
So for those of us who can't attend, and I know you said they're not gonna do online during the week,
They will
if they mentioned anything about making them accessible after, they've done that in the past, where they made videos accessible.
No, but I will ask.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure, thank you. Anyway, so
I appreciate it.
I hope y'all enjoy the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for getting ready for us.
Oh,
We
you're
appreciate it. All right, Mike, do you have an update for us for the OSBA board training? Did we get a hold of?
I did reach out to, Steve Kelly, as requested, and Steve has happily retired. He is no longer with OSBA.
Well, he did not.
He called me from the golf course somewhere sunny and said, I sympathize for you, but I'm over here just being happy.
Oh.
So anyway, Steve's not available, but I did reach out to, Vince Adams, who we had before.
Yeah.
We did a nice job.
We did a nice job. I like it.
Yeah, and so Vince is available and he, on November 29th and December 6th, if we're looking for something coming up soon. We could also look out to January, February, so to
We said the dates again, November 29th,
November 29th and December 6th.
and their evenings, like 6 PM, like we've done in the past,
Yeah, they would be in the evenings.
either side. Oh, no, I am not here on the 6th.
Neither am I.
Can we look into the beginning of the year, please? I'll be out of the country, and I'd like to attend.
So
Yeah, we'd like you to attend.
I think that we would have more options on dates.
Yeah.
Going out further,
I think that would be better.
so.
Wait till after the holidays.
I'll ask him what his availability is on Wednesdays in January, February, March.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay.
And then we can just revisit it next month. Yep. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, moving on to new business. Approve the construction manager, general manager. Contractor RFP.
So I think I have to make the motion first, right, so we can discuss.
Yes, that's what I wanted to
Okay,
do.
I move to approve the construction manager RFP contract awarded to Kenzie Commercial.
Second.
Then.
All in, oh, the discussion, we're gonna discuss it, and then we're gonna decide.
Is there an update? Can you give us
Yeah.
an overview?
Yeah, so we did a letter of intent, which would be a normal process, and we've actually been working with McKinsey Commercial Oil to, with the contracts currently with legal, being reviewed. And so that'll come at another board meeting, you guys will have a chance to review that and get permission for us to sign it and engage. But we have actually, because we have a letter of intent, and McKinsey Commercial is willing to work with us without, in lieu of the contract having ink on it yet. We've already had a couple of meetings with them, and so, we're excited to have this project being moved forward.
So can I clarify that the action is we recommend to award, and then will we actually vote on the contract?
Yeah.
Once it's through legal?
Yeah, what you'll do is you'll actually vote on giving, you've done this before, you'll give permission for Superintendent Johnson to sign the contract.
This or a second motion?
No, this is actually, you are actually approving the evaluation committee's recommendation to award the contract to the CMGC contract to McKinsey Commercial.
Okay, and then that allows him to sign the contract.
No, that'll come separate when you.
That's my question.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
So, no, I just wanna make sure I'm not voting on something I don't.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm glad you clarified all that, because I was
Okay.
thinking that I was along the line.
Then I am there comfortable.
Anybody else have any questions regarding that? All right, all in favor?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you for all of that, discussion. Again, I'll clarify. Mike, is this you? It's the information regarding our ad glance report card.
So we have our first view of the release of our report cards from last year. And our students' performance and how we're doing as far as how the state is measuring our progress. And our situation in their success indicators. And in looking at the data, I've already given a preview of the data of what I have found on where we stood as far as in Lane County, we're at the top in student achievement in Lane County, and making progress and moving upward at the state as far as the state progress reports go. So as we anticipated with the implementation of a new ELA curriculum K-12, we would start seeing some improvements happening there. And, you know, that's really quick improvements with a new curriculum that was just implemented the same year. So our teachers are doing great, kids are doing great. Mathematics, and surprising that it went up like that, but our teachers are doing a great job. We're starting to pick up the pace with our kids post-COVID. And we're starting to see them close the gaps, the COVID gap, and move into our normally where we're at with their student achievement levels. And you see 5-year completion rating going down. 5%, that's because on-time graduation went up 4%. So we're moving in the right direction in that area. That's what you want to see on those two success indicators. And yeah, as a district, that's how we're doing overall. We'll be disaggregating the state data deeper to get some more information coming out. But really, the state has been leaning more toward formal evaluation processes, so more like iReady stuff and how iReady is progressing. You know, that those are our in-house progress monitoring system that gives you real-time progress reports. And so we'll be seeing those come out from our principals here pretty soon after the first benchmark.
Okay. Everyone knows I have a question. So our on-track graduation, while it's still above the Oregon average, it decreased quite a bit, 80% this year. And, you know, one of the things we did last year was going to the 4 periods in hopes of catching some kids up and getting their contract back up. Do we think we know why, or it's Jenny, and you? And did you know I'd ask?
No, I didn't know you asked, but I knew you would have a question.
Fair.
I didn't know what it would be if we were back or taking over another bets. So a couple of things play into on-track graduation. Students who are enrolled in Building 900, for example, students with severe disabilities, who may need to be educated at another location because it's just better, and the team has decided that, they are still part of our numbers, but they're not on a regular credit track. And so some of those numbers play into that drop. Last year, which that on-track data is not specifically for last year, so I would have to go back and look, but in looking at last year's and one of my recent board reports, you saw that we had, I think there were 4 newcomers to the freshman class, which was late in the year, and they were already credit deficient. Which is why I provide the 10th grade on track, because of those 8 weeks, those who come to us credit deficient count against us. But we work really hard to make sure that they are up to date or working towards being on track by their 10th grade year. So it's really important for me, as we have started coming out of COVID and, using the 4x4 schedule to really leverage the success of our student, to include that 10th grade, on-track data, 11th grade on-track data, and you will see those numbers are like 92%, 96%, 97%. So, you know, from year to year, if I remember right, that's from the 21-22 data versus the 22-23. So I can go back and get the specific statistic for that. But typically those are the reasons why it may drop. You're welcome.
I'll think of another question while they're talking, so.
Okay, perfect.
Lacey, did you have something?
I was wanting to know what you're seeing with the regular attenders, because
I noticed you did.
attendance is down in all three buildings, and that wasn't our trend before this last year.
Yeah, and that's the trend in the statewide. If you're looking at the headlines about schools and how schools are doing statewide, attendance is down, way down, across the state. And what we're seeing is that, you know, parental preference to keep their kids home during specific times, days, or whatever activities is becoming more common in our early grades, 1, 2, 3. And Amy can speak about that, about what's happening there. in the other schools.
Oh, I just can't see.
Oh.
She's a good mouth. I'm trying to see the doctor.
But I would defer for more specifics on it, on each school, to the principals, and let the principals speak to what they're seeing in their data and what they're doing with their. I know that we are relentless on truancy,
Yeah.
more than any other district that we can think of. In fact, we're asked of what we are doing for truancy, what our schools are doing. And they each have truancy plans or intervention plans, and they work tirelessly. I mean, they go visit families and ask what's going on. So they're really going above and beyond to make improvements. But let's give them an opportunity to kind of explain what they're seeing there. Who wants to?
I think that, and I think this probably goes for all three schools, but probably schools across the state. Last year was the first year that we, since the start of COVID, were unable to count students for attendance who needed to stay home because they may, have been exposed or actually had COVID. So during the time that we were in the pandemic, students could receive education from home because it was a mandate that they stay home. So that sickness time, those days did not count, you know, against them. So there was that piece of it. We count them as being educated and in the building because we had to provide asynchronous education for them. Last year, we were not able to use that code anymore. However, kids were still required to stay out for the days that they may have been sick. I think the other thing is that families, as Mike said, you know, just have different preferences for when they want to send their kids. And we have sent, prior to COVID, come to school if you've got 101 temperature. Don't come unless you're vomiting or have diarrhea. We want to clean that. So there was a bigger push to have kids in school with the sniffles. And now there is not. If you have the sniffles, stay home. And families are doing that, and we appreciate that, you know, just for the health of the school as a whole. I think the other piece is, and I hope that we're maybe getting close to being out of this. We were during COVID, families and scheduled trips that kept getting postponed because they couldn't go anywhere. And they needed to use their expired airline miles or airline tickets, and they just did that when they could. We also have a culture of hunting in this area. So kids are out for hunting. Even if it's an excused absence, that comes against us for our attendance. So I think there's a variety of reasons, but
A couple things, and so like also obviously maybe even a little bit more defined, because even this year we got new guidance from our county public health people, or actually the state level, on what is the guidance for kids staying out. So there used to be like a 24-hour rule, and we moved from COVID type rules to now just any illness. So we're keeping kids out based on symptoms, not on testing. So it doesn't matter if you have COVID or the flu or cold or what it may be, if you have a fever, you're out. And they've also extended that amount of time that kids have to be out. The 24-hour rule is now 36 hours or 48 hours, depending on what the symptom is that they're out for. So that went into effect this year, so I'm sure next year we may even perhaps see an impact of that. I would say that, another thing I was gonna say, I lost it, but it doesn't matter. What was I gonna say, Summer? Oh, it's that. So like that these things we're talking about, the amount of students that we're supporting, we see that, and there is a lot of barriers to kids coming to school. And the majority of the kids that Summer and I are supporting, who are becoming truants, are in some pretty extreme situations. And it's a huge team effort to try and help get those kids here. And a lot of situations in school is like the last of 15 things that they're worried about because they're just trying to get fed or be safe or have a place to sleep. So we're seeing a lot more of those type of students. And then for Summer and I to support them is even that much more challenging because a lot of them can't even reach. There's no phone number, there's no way to contact them. So we have spent a lot of time, a lot of hours supporting families and trying to help reduce those barriers as well, working with Sarah and Catherine as much as we can. But that we're just seeing that impact.
Thank you. That's super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much for that information. Anybody else have any questions for Mike? All right, now we're gonna move on to the annual student investment account.
So, as required by the state, we have, we're presenting you with our annual report on the SIA plan. In a nutshell, our SIA plan expenditures align to our continuous improvement plan, which involve the community through the strategic planning process. So we're addressing the needs that were identified to us by our community, but also what we determined through the data that we're looking at with student achievement, the needs of our kids coming out of COVID, and how we can provide the best education possible for them. So all of our SIA funding is directed at, it's a needs based appropriation. And we just keep moving in that direction, and you can see where we're at with our report back to the state on how we're doing and what we think they can help us with, other than more money. It could help us with more money.
Yes.
But anyway, folks are working hard. I know all three schools are committed to the SIP plan and to the strategic, all the themes and activities in the strategic plan. And we're moving right along with it, just picking them off and implementing them in our schools and programs.
Questions for Mike about that, anyone?
No, that was actually one report that was brief. And
I know, I actually really, and I enjoyed the questions.
100 pages of information. Did you notice that?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for providing that for us tonight. Okay, and the next item is discussion on school safety and security.
So I provided you all with some information, the information that I presented at the community forum and an update I provided in my superintendent's report. And where we're at currently with it, we're waiting for the surveyor to come back with the boundary and where our property line is at. We're consolidating and working on the data from survey, the community forum, and some of the ideas and good ideas came out of those, and for us to consider as we move forward. And with the objective, first priority is having student safety and how we can preserve our facilities for our kids. That's the primary purpose of our fields, of our tracks, of our school buildings, of everything that we have in existence is for the kids. That's what it's all here for. So,
Are you gonna collate the suggestions from the?
Yeah, are you gonna provide us with the form?
Would you, yeah.
yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will.
And then I'm assuming that when you have the survey results, that'll be something that's what I'm thinking. The community survey. The community survey.
No, we're trying to consolidate the data, information that came out of the community forum with in themes that came out
Yeah.
of the survey.
And just provide it all in one. That makes sense. All right. So I think it was good information that you gave us tonight, and then, do we know when the surveyor is coming back?
We don't, it's a lengthy process, which is what we heard from the first surveyor, and the longer time they spend on a project, the less time they can get to the easier ones, and the easier ones, they have a straight,
Exactly.
yeah, and it's times above it, and.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while. We didn't know we were in that kind of situation until they couldn't find the marker on the property line. So now we're back to the, original, boundary setting.
All right.
Okay, so you bring us back more information and then we'll have a further discussion then.
We can think or talk about, or the forward information. All right.
Is the original Lane County Sheriff's Plan in
No,
No.
yeah, that just to like the next meeting,
No.
not the details, but like the fencing specifically.
it should be in there in the, you have a packet that
In the,
In
on
the-
my PowerPoint.
Gotcha, okay.
oh, yeah, it is.
I will go through that. and
Yeah.
read it.
No, and I think he showed that to us. I think I read it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
So
please.
that safety plan, just because I wasn't here when that was done in 2018. So is that's just the total recommendation of what they're saying they think would check all the boxes to make our property secure? Is that like, so it's just a thorough, like, 'cause when I was reading through, I mean, it was very detailed, right? Like, it talked about lots of particulars. So I'm just wondering, so that's just the recommendation that we're putting forward to look at. Is that my understanding?
Well, that's their assessment of our school facilities for a safe school and facilities for the entire school environment. And their assessment is based on their training, which is based on research across the country, and those assessments are updated as the Homeland Security document or the federal school safety document is updated, and it's in its third version,
Okay.
third edition. So since 2022, we're getting all current data on threats and incidents and school shootings throughout the country. And based on their assessment in 18 and 20, we are extremely vulnerable. Now, we've tightened up things on the interior from our walls into the classrooms, on procedures, on our safety mechanisms, locks, doors, entries to the building. We've taken that to heart, and we've limited the entry points to each of our buildings, and we've secured them. They can only we've done a lot of things in that direction, so we'll continue to move in that direction because they are the professionals that can tell us how we make our schools safest. So those recommendations and that assessment are sound. And that's the direction you want to go. Because they're the authorities of safety and security. And especially for schools in this particular instance. If we ignore the recommendations and we can't prevent an event from happening when we could, then we have another issue, we have a bigger issue. We have somebody that's hurt, or people that get hurt. And we didn't do what was recommended to prevent it from the authorities that gave us this assessment.
So my question is more around the process. So they've said, hey, here's the recommendation. So is that something that we sit and as a board, we look at and say, yeah, we think that these are all things and we talk about it and we approve it, or is it just something that is a plan in place?
It is a plan that's developed out of that, and the district, the administration of the district superintendent can move that forward to secure the school.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Trustee reports.
Yeah, weird.
It'd be you or me to start. I think you feel better.
I did my usual footballing in all of October, and it came to a close last night. I had the honor of hauling our football team through the parade. On their float, that was a lot of fun. So with the community forum, then on over to the committee meetings. I don't know, I feel like I'm never home, I feel like I'm constantly emotional.
Mary. I have not been around much, but I helped with the homecoming hallway for the sophomore class and the homecoming float for the sophomore class. And I attended a volleyball game and I was at He-Man and Powerpuff Girls. That
So you got to see the Creswell rock band rock out.
the staff infections were amazing. They did a very good job. And in fact, I think there's a plug for them to potentially perform at the booster auction. Just saying, it was amazing.
I think we have a whole kind of party for the welcome back to school event.
There you go. I think so. I just want you to know that the parents around me were like, what is this? And I was like, these are staff members who literally have a band called staff. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I knew nothing about this. And I was like, yes.
I've never heard of this.
Jenny just shared it, and it was amazing.
It's you, Jenny?
She's in it.
Oh, why didn't I know that?
Last night,
It was the first time I have ever sung in front of anybody at all. Never sang with a microphone before. It was the scariest thing I've ever done, but I'm like, okay, I ask kids to do scary things all the time. I can do this.
Well, it sounds like you're gonna. You definitely have to do it again, because I missed it.
She rocked
I
out.
feel like you should, is there
She
a
rocked
picture?
We are sure. Is there video? Is there anything?
Is there?
There's
Okay,
video.
is there actual video?
There aren't any
Oh,
pictures.
there's video.
You should have-
Oh, Amy.
It'll.
Oh, okay. Okay, find people.
Come on.
Yeah. Thank you for that trustee report. Look at all the information we found out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a picture and next board meeting, just you wait.
Next board meeting is in Idaho.
Lazy. Attended a lot of soccer games. The boys made it to state, the first round of state playoffs, second round of state playoffs. I'm not quite sure. I'm not a sports person to follow, but they played their hearts out and then lost in an overtime. So I know, did see a lot of soccer, boys and girls, so that was fun. Made it to the volleyball game where our girls did the playoff. We got together. Yep, Candace was filling me on the rules, because again, that's not my focus. So I'm like, what are we doing? How close are we?
Is it almost done?
They played so good. All right, so yeah, expanded my horizons with that. The angel tree and season of giving that Catherine had mentioned earlier, I am a part of that group. So if any of you guys want an angel, a kiddo to be able to buy for, let me know, or go to Blue Valley Bistro.
Yeah, and Bean Hopper.
And Bean Hopper. Yeah, those are the two community places besides our church that, so we have been prepping for that. We've been prepping food boxes. Marilyn and I deliver, mostly Marilyn, I'm the sub for Marilyn. Deliver food boxes to kids on the weekends, making sure that they get food, so helping with that. And yeah, did help with a few homecoming supplies and parade floats. I don't know that.
Well, I think that's a lot.
That's,
So you're good.
yeah, yeah. Just stuff is happening.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun.
Tim?
Yeah, on October 11th, I participated in the RFP committee with a couple of interviews and a group discussion, and it resulted in a recommendation that the board voted on previously. Then on October 18th, I met with Mike, and that's about it.
I also went to some football games, and I made it to volleyball playoffs. Is that Lacey? Good watch. I went to Powder Puff last night. That was a blast, and I really do hope we get a flag football team going. So I think that would be super cool. We went to a leadership meeting. I didn't get to go to the soccer games, but I did watch both boys and girls on NFHS. So if you guys don't, it's an easy way to watch. And unfortunately, the volleyball tournament was during the day and I didn't get to go, but I did watch it at work on NFHS. Don't tell my boss. I feel like I did something else, but that's fine. I really like to go to a band concert, but I can never find it. I don't know if we've had one yet.
They're on there. I think this we did. We have wrestling player December 6th.
December.
Oh, right. I think
I am Tom.
I'm gonna be home next.
7 o'clock. Okay, is there a high school one coming up or?
yeah, it may. Should be in the board report, but they're also on the school calendar.
Oh, November 14th
Okay.
is, oh no, that's, November 14th is choir for elementary, is what it says.
Let me,
That's
I'll
true.
look and find the December one.
That'd be next Tuesday.
Oh, it's on here a lot of times, just FYI.
That's the fact.
Oh, so that's kind of confusing, FYI, on the calendar.
You are gonna be there, but
You're. No, okay, I will find it on the school calendar.
The CHS winter concert is December 13th.
Thank you.
7 p.m.
12:13, 7, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And my board report is short and sweet. I had a leadership team meeting and I'm pretty sure I went to some soccer games, but my life is too confusing to remember everything. Talk to Mike a lot.
Good.
That's it. So, and we have our next board meeting on December 13th, the day of the concert.
Oh, yeah.
You should change that.
Or
Get done early and go straight to the concert.
Yeah, does it start till 7?
Yeah, it's on six.
You limit the December agenda.
Yeah,
so that we
yeah,
can get
that's
done
a good
now.
note to make right now, so we can take it. Are we hoping organized?
Oh, that would be Christmas gift.
That would be-
Oh, that's Christmas gift night too.
It'll be like 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay, well, that's fine. I really like to talk about it, so we'll okay. As long as we don't have anything major on the agenda, then we'll make it quick.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Do you want to start early?
Well, I know that I don't want it to be a conflict for you. Cause I know you're the one that has to travel. I mean, and we could start at like 5:30, 5:45, if that works for everybody's schedule.
Wednesdays are fairly flexible.
Okay.
I can make it.
Okay, great. Is that okay with everybody else?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Do 5:30 work? Okay, awesome. Thank you, Tim, for the suggestion. That way we can get everything done. Look at all of us going.
If I'm not on a plane, I'll zoom in.
Gotcha. Oh, that's right, because somebody's going out of the country. But it's okay. You already let me know you weren't gonna be.
30 the next morning, so I might,
Yeah,
maybe.
okay. All right.
So we'll move the time to
So 5:30.
5:30. Yeah.
We'll move to 5:30.
That is why there's.
Awesome.
multiple
Okay.
of us
Now I'm gonna
that
call-
we should meet to just-
We're gonna turn the meeting for tonight. Everybody have a beautiful evening.
Vacation for 2 weeks.
I made it sure by then you're ready to